So I had a fun set of questions come in that kind of remind me of both my duality class with Mind Valley and the Spirit Mind course that I have with my wife Hisami. So I wanted to share these real quick. So the first question is when I'm in the duality class, when I'm talking about using a rose, over and over, I talk about put a rose out in front of you. And it's kind of this technique where we're going to put this rose here and we're going to either let it attract the energy from other people and then kind of dissipate, or we're going to let it attract our energy and kind of heal ourselves with rose. And so we use a rose a lot in energy work. You'll see this set up from many teachers. And the question is, is it a red rose for a reason? And can I use something else like a wildflower, or something like that? And yeah, definitely you can. So the reason it's a rose is actually about the geometry. So if you look at the geometry of how space-time divides, it looks like this, but that's actually why a rose looks like this. That's why you see this pattern over and over and over all over the place. And when you use a visualization that's close to what's actually happening energetically, that helps it be, it kind of gives you the flavor right away of what you're trying to get, even if you don't understand the energy or the geometry, right? So you just like create a rose that gets the right geometry. But if a rose isn't your thing, or like say maybe you want to do a white rose, totally okay. You want to use some daisies or wildflowers or a soap bubble. That's really popular too. Create a soap bubble out in front of you. Just go with it. And the reason I'm sharing this is that it's not just for this technique, but any teacher, any energy work that you're learning or creative visualization, if there's some portion in it that feels a little off to you, just adapt. Trust yourself. Listen to what's coming from within you as much or more than you're listening to what's coming from that teacher in front of you. So if you're doing a meditation, they say, create a rose in front of you, and you're like, oh, I kind of don't feel like a rose today, no problem. Do whatever it is for you. Or if it's grounding and you want to do it a different way, or really any technique that you're being taught, the trick with energy work is kind of getting the flavor right, not getting the details just the way that somebody else imagined them, right? So you always want to turn within and do it your way, follow your own internal guidance. So that brings me to the second question, which, like I said, it kind of reminds me of my course Spirit Mind with my wife Hisami. So the second question said, well, seeking higher wisdom from God, the answer came to me that it's already shown to me every day through nature. Is it wisdom or just connection with God that I receive when I'm being in awe with nature? And how is it wisdom? So I won't answer your question specifically, but what it reminded me of is in the course with Usami, with Spirit Mind, is that she's always talking about our natural state is to be fully connected with the universe. So that'd be connected with nature, connected with all other beings, connected with God, connected with some breathing, whatever your belief system is about that higher power, the universe and so on. That's our natural state of connection. And of course, if you think about it, if there's this power that knows everything and is everything, then that would include you, right? You're part of everything, right? So you're naturally connected there. And in the techniques that I share in the duality training, we're kind of doing things. We're like creating a rose or grounding ourselves, or we're doing something to kind of tap into these answers or tap into this intuition. But that's just one way to do it. Like that's a really fun way and is really effective, especially if we're used to using our mind in this way. But as I've learned from being married to my wife Isami, there's a completely other way to do it too, where you just kind of remember I've always been connected to begin with. I'm connected to all the information that's out there all the time. And so as you start to tune in, we call this spirit mind, as you start to tune into this spirit mind space, suddenly you remember that, oh, all my answers are within. So I don't even need to go to that teacher outside and ask questions. Just the answers are flowing from within me. Or when I'm watching that teacher, that inspiring person on the outside, I'm also have the answers flowing from within me and I'm understanding on a deeper level. I like to think of this like kind of like great teachers and speakers and actors and so on are really just channeling energy and information through themselves. And what you can do is kind of tune into, imagine it's like water coming from the tap. You can kind of tune in and the same water is flowing onto you. that's flowing out to them. So as it's coming through them and their filters and out their mouth and into their visualizations, it's also flowing right through you and coming out in your unique way. So you can express that same energy in a totally different way. So it works both ways. It works by yourself. You can tune in. And it works when you're working with a teacher, an inspiring person, and it works that way too. So have fun with that.